Hello, friends. It's Julia here of nittany.knits, formerly known as Julicious many moons ago. Um, no plan today. Well, I actually do have a plan. I have like 3 pages of notes. Um, I've been meaning to make this video for weeks, and today I finally just said, to hell with it. We're doing it. We're rolling. I'm in a really big hoodie that's got dog hair all over it. It doesn't matter. Here we are. It is Wednesday, the 25th of March, 2026. I am Julia, as I said. My pronouns are they, them. I am coming to you from sunny Ottawa, Ontario in Canada. Getting through my first Canadian winter. It was rough. More about that later. So in my notes, just looking down here that I started writing a couple of weeks ago, under say hello, it just says existential screaming in parentheses. No context. But yeah. Obviously things were happening when I wrote that. Things are still happening. So I'm just gonna say, you know what, because I'm not lying. It says right there, just existential screaming, if you can read my handwriting. So you know what, we're just gonna take a moment. And if you're having a hard time, feeling overwhelmed, feeling powerless, feeling helpless, feeling frustrated, feeling terrified, I'm going to give you space. If you need to scream or yell or just feel those feelings purely just for yourself, do that now. Yeah. Yeah, we're not okay. We're allowed to not be okay. We're allowed to not be okay. We're not allowed to wallow, but we're allowed to not be okay. So this winter has been really rough. I live with pretty significant chronic pain that tends to get worse when the weather is kind of whack. Cold definitely doesn't help, but I find personally that changes in like drastic changes in barometric pressure are more correlated to my pain than the temperature outside. I do not, I would love to see a rheumatologist, but I just moved to Canada and there are waiting lists. But it's free. So, and this is not a new issue. But yeah, so if you also have chronic pain and fatigue, I see you. Let's just dive right on into my temperature Quaker, just so I can kind of give you a visual of what sort of what it's been like up here. And I want you to remember, look at a map. I'm in Ottawa. I am in like a southern eastern part of Ontario. There's a whole lot of Ontario to the west and north. And folks up there have a way rougher time than I do. So don't want to complain. Don't want you to think I'm complaining. Just, it's an adjustment and I am adjusting. Anyway, Temperature Quaker is a temperature pattern designed by Sarah of Stitchin' Mommy. I am stitching it this year on a 28 count white linen from Charles Craft DMC. I got it at the craft store. I'm stitching it with the call for DMC 2/2. The last time you saw my Temperature Quaker, it looked like that. Okay. So I was in the middle of February. I have finished up the February motif and am plugging along, obviously, on March. And I really need to serge this fabric, but I kind of don't want to because I'm lazy. So here we are. Here it is now. Okay. So this color right here, I think it's 833. This color, that is 16 degrees. Yes, is it 16 degrees? 16 Celsius, so like 60 degrees Fahrenheit, right? Might have been 14. The equivalent of like 60 degrees in Fahrenheit, okay? The day after that, that's the second coldest color. That was the equivalent of 14 degrees Fahrenheit in 24 hours. Like, I'm not making that up. So yeah, it's been wild. It's been wild. We had a blizzard on the spring equinox last Friday. It was good times. I'm not complaining. I'm just, this is new and I'm reacting to it in real time. That's what's happening. Okay, so that is Temperature Quaker. One more time, trying to set myself up for success when I'm doing before pictures for the next video. Okay. Really enjoying this. It is my Saturday stitch, my Saturday morning stitch. Who was I watching when I worked on this last? I was watching Karen D, the Twitchy Stitcher, when I was stitching on this last. So I just collect the temperatures for a week and then sit down on Saturday and do this. Which is a very good way to stay on top of it. Stitchin' Mommy, I think I've mentioned this before, she does a lot of her temperature stitching on Sundays. Her day of rest is Sunday. She's Christian. And so I thought, well, it's not very much and it's relaxing, and that sounds like a great thing to do on my Sabbath on Saturday. So that's what I do, and it's working pretty well. Speaking of, last week I looked at the calendar to see when I started to get ready for Pesach, for Passover, and that was a rude awakening. So yeah, we're doing a lot of that, preparing for that. The years start coming and they don't stop coming, and they don't stop coming, and they don't stop coming, as the man said. Okay. Circling back to how a few minutes ago I gave us all some space to kind of have a little existential freak out if we needed it. And then I said that we are allowed to not be okay, but we are not allowed to wallow. Despair is not a strategy. So I wanted to bring something out of the vault. As some of you may or may not know, I dabble in cross-stitch design and knitting design. I have a Ko-fi, it's linked below. I, a couple of years ago, took part in, with the Stitchers Collective, a little Stitchers for Change, Stitchers for Peace, I forget. We put together a bundle of patterns. I think there were 15, and it was $10. You donated $10 US to Doctors Without Borders to MSF, and you would receive this this collection of cross-stitch charts. So if you got in on that, great. If you didn't, and you liked my contribution, which was a small Quaker design called Save the World, you are in luck, because I'm bringing it out of the vault. It's a relatively small Quaker design. I stitched this on a 40 count linen because I love it. You may stitch this on whatever count of fabric or type of fabric that makes you happy. Likewise, I stitched this using Stitchy Box Flower Silk. The black is Bat Orchid, the red is Poinsettia. I have given you a DMC conversion in the chart, but likewise, you may use whatever floss you have available, floss that makes you happy. You have a skein of variegated floss that's been burning a hole in your stash and you want to do something with it, go off, stitch this with it. I am not going to be precious about how you choose to modify my designs. But yes, this was designed by me. It is made by a human. It came from a human's brain. It is not AI slop. It is the real McCoy. I chose the colors and the text this way with the red bar between them because I kind of wanted to echo the logo of MSF. And the verse, "One who saves a single life saves the world entire," comes from the Talmud. So, temporarily, this is coming out of the vault and it is available to you. Do you want it? Here is how you get it. You go to MSF's website. You donate a minimum of $10 US, $14 Canadian, and you email me your receipt of that transaction. My email address is below. And then you be very patient. Well, not very patient. It really depends on how many of you jump on this and how much time I have in and around the day. But within a few days, I will email you the PDF of this chart. I don't know what else to say about it. This is probably my proudest design. I am really thrilled with how it looks, how it came together. I chose to finish this as a flat fold, and it's not perfect. I think you can see that it's not perfectly straight. It is held together with Aileen's craft glue and a whole lot of hope. And that's okay, because things don't have to be perfect. Oh, yeah, it's a little wide. Like this bit of ribbon that I used, it could have been shorter. I was guesstimating, and I was also really hurrying to get it done because I needed it for photos for the zine compilation. But your finishes don't have to be perfect. There are some folks here who do beautiful finishing, and I love that for them. I'm jealous. But you don't have to hold yourself to really high standards. I mean, you can if you want. But don't let perfect be the enemy of good. Right? And you learn something. Anyway, that's my little spiel. My little plug for MSF, who does great work providing healthcare to countries and communities in crisis, in wartime. They risk their lives to save the lives of others. And as a nurse, that means a great deal to me. That's all I have to say about that. Oh. Speaking of charity, I just want to give a really quick plug. I am almost 15 minutes in. I'm sorry, guys. I want to give a quick plug to a charity that I'm involved in very heavily this year in Canada. It is the People with AIDS Friends for Life Bike Rally. It is a charity that raises money for organizations that help Canadians living with HIV and AIDS. Help them find employment, food, housing, access to life-saving medicine, all that good stuff. I am on the crew. The ride is a bike ride. It is a bike ride from in August. And the riders ride from Toronto, Ontario, 600 kilometers east to Montreal, Quebec. Or Quebec, I'm sorry. And it really takes a small village to make that happen. I am choosing to volunteer as a member of the crew. I'm going to be on the wellness crew because as a nurse, I feel like that suits me. And I am raising money for it. I am choosing to try. I'm really bad at fundraising. I'm trying to raise $1,000. I am one of those people who would rather have my fingernails pulled out than ask for money. So this is really hard for me. I'm going to put the link to my fundraising page down here below. If you would donate, I would be very grateful. If you would share, I would be even more grateful. I'm fundraising now through the summer. If you can't make it happen right now, that's fine. I am going to try over the next couple of months to do some raffles. So like, you know, if you donate $5, you get entered into a raffle for, say, a 1-2-3 Stitch gift card or a the sewing shop gift card, something hand knit by myself. So that is the charity that I am working closely with this summer. I appreciate your support. I appreciate you sitting here listening to me talk about it, and I'm going to talk about crafting again now. Thank you. I have a finished object. I finished a pair of socks. I finished these almost a month ago, and I have not taken them off the sock blockers to put on my feet because I wanted to show you. These are the rib socks. And I have, they fit on my very largest sock blockers. They are 2x2 ribbing all the way down, German short row heels, also in ribbing, just a plain wedge toe, also in ribbing. These were knit from the toe up. I did the surprisingly stretchy bind off at the top, and it's going to be great. I cannot wait to put these on my feet. So, Rib Socks by James M. Watts. I will put a link to the Ravelry page in the show notes below. The yarn is sock yarn by October Knits, which is a queer and trans owned yarn dyer in Perth, Ontario. This sock yarn, it was 2 balls of this gradient, and the socks are so huge because I wanted to use up as much of it as I could, and I mostly succeeded in that. The colorway is called Get in the Robot. These folks are not on Ravelry the last time I looked, so I will just put a link to their website. But yeah, very happy, would absolutely knit with yarn from October Knits again. And yeah, it was, these were a challenge. German short row heel. This was a new knitting heel method for me. Having to do it in 2x2 rib added a little extra challenge. I'm gonna need to do it again with reading the instructions frequently one more time before I think it's really cemented up here. But I think the next time I knit a pair of toe-up socks, I will do that, and we'll see how it goes. So, happy about that. And then, that's the only finished object I have. Let's talk about my whips. Milestone Manor is still going. It's going slowly because as I said, been pretty low energy. But let's see. So I worked on 2 projects for Milestone Manor. My hallway project which is Gamer Nouveau. The artwork is by Medusa Dollmaker. Mine is charted by Gecko Rouge. Gecko Rouge no longer carries this chart, but Medusa Dollmaker does. The charting is different though. So I actually got, need to look at my notes here, because I got some XP. I am 1 XP away from leveling up, but I also only have 1 hit point left. So I think I'm going to be knocked out before I level up, but that's okay. That's the way it goes. So the last time I stitched on this, I rolled the dice and I had to stitch 500 stitches, which I did. So the last time you saw this, by the way, it looked like that. And now I got 2 page finishes. And it looks like this. Look at that. I am so happy that this is done. This section was stressing me out. So yeah, as you, some of you might remember, one of my big crafting goals for this year is to finish this top row of pages. Getting on towards the edge of March, and there we are. I mean, I don't want to jinx it, but I'm cautiously optimistic. Cautiously optimistic. So yeah, that was 2 page finishes, 2 experience points for me. This is coming out again soon. I have to do 400 stitches next. I think I rolled 400 stitches next. And that's not going to get me to any milestones. So I think that's going to knock me out. And then I'll have to go back to the beginning and roll again to put more work in on this. So, okay. All right. And so after I did those 500 stitches, I chose to move. Here, I will remind you of what my floor plan looks like. Really high tech. I just printed out the Clue game board. Gave my list of whips to my kid, who then put them in the rooms and then covered them with a Post-it note. So it's a surprise. So Gamer's my hallway stitch. So after I finished those 500 stitches, I moved to the library and discovered that that was Femurs and Fungi, which was a stitch along. It is designed by, it was a mystery stitch along. It was designed by Not Sprouting Lupine. Fine Frog Stitching, Steph at Fine Frog Stitching. I was doing really well stitching along in real time until I wasn't. But I really want to get this finished this year because I want to frame it and give it to my kid for Hanukkah this year. So last time you saw it, it looked like that. And oh, how many stitches? This got 1,440 stitches, and I got 2 milestones. I finished 3 colors, so I eliminated 3 colors of floss, and I also passed the 50% mark on the pattern. And you're really going to be able to see the difference if the light will cooperate. This is a 32 count linen in Salem by Color and Cotton using called for DMC. So what did I do? I stitched this femur and the fungus on it. I finished up these little black and white spooky portraits. I finished this shelf with the crystal ball, the books, and the candle. I came over here and started working on this vertebrae, which is off center, and now I have to take it out. But we're not thinking about that right now. That is future Julia's problem. Started working on this little portrait, which is a crow or raven sitting on a skull. I think I filled in this picture frame a little bit. Very, very happy with the progress on this one. 100%. I'll be able to get this done this year. It's just going to be easily done. Easily done. Okay. And then I said the next Milestone Manor thing coming up is I have to do 400 stitches on the gamer, which will knock me out, and then I'll have to go back to the beginning and roll and see how many stitches I'm putting in on the gamer again yet. So gamer is going to get double love coming up. And that's how it goes. Also, so I am participating in Ann P. of the Emporium of Forgotten Threads here on YouTube. She's doing a year-long sort of book club craft along, and Anne is my friend, and I want to support her, and it's fun, and so I've been doing that. The main thing I'm focusing on is the theme for January, which was memories, things to do with memories, maybe an old whip that you haven't taken out in a while, or whips that evoke memories for you. So I'm doing two. I'm doing the Temperature Quaker, the first temperature project I've ever stitched, because I wanted to mark our first calendar year here in Ottawa. So there's that, but there is also this piece from Cottage Garden Samplings. This is an oldie but a goodie, Forever and Ever. I'm stitching this in memoriam of my maternal grandparents, and I have divided the pattern up into 12 sections with the intention of stitching a section every month to finish it in December, and then get it framed and put on the wall with photographs of my grandparents. So I am stitching this on 36 count linen from Roxy Floss Co. in the colorway Cloud Break. And I did my partner Josh did a color conversion to Roxy Floss Co. flosses. Doesn't look like the picture, but that's okay. And I am still, so the last time you saw this, it looked like that. Okay. And I am still working on March's strip, but right now it looks like this. The lighting, you see, it's a beautiful sunny day, but the lighting in here is not that great. I apologize. This is how it's looking. Pretty happy with it so far. No real complaints. In person, you can see the subtle variations of the different. There are 3 greens in here that are just different enough, and 2 of the pinks in the petals. I don't think you can differentiate them on camera, but in person you can. So yeah, March's section is almost done. So we're on track for that. Plans. I'm going to keep doing Milestone Manor because it's working for me. It's given me just enough structure, and it's a game, and that helps. Coming in April, I am going to be participating in a knit-along, a shawl knit-along, that is being hosted by Gauge Dye Works, which is a Canadian yarn company in Western Canada. And they host knit-alongs occasionally, and in April I'm going to be knitting the Whiskey in a Teacup shawl. Looks like that. It is an asymmetrical triangular shawl. I knit a gauge swatch, so the colorway is also called Whiskey in a Teacup. And I have knit a swatch, but it's incomplete because I have not yet washed and blocked this swatch. Did you know that your swatches are not accurate until you wash them? I say painful things when they're the truth sometimes. I'm sorry, I know. It's not accurate until you wash it. Okay? That's how it goes. So that's what I'm doing in April. I'm sort of following along on their Ravelry group, but I might kind of just participate and not be public about it. It's really going to depend on my mood. And so having said that, if you would like to do a knit along with me in April, it doesn't have to be a shawl using Gauge Dye Works yarn. It can be a free pattern. It can be a pattern you've had in your stash for a long time. It can be anything, right? You can use really chunky yarn and just knit a triangle or a rectangle, whatever you want to do. I think it would be really fun. So something to think about. No pressure. I got another skein of yarn for a shawl from Gauge Dye Works for a shawl called Goldstream by Andrea Rangel. And this I might knit and give away in a raffle for the PWA bike rally. I'm still working on my gauge swatch for this one. It's looking small. It's not, it ain't over till it's been washed and blocked, but so far it's looking a little small. So we'll see. With shawls, it's hard, right? Because it's not, with engaged swatches, it's not just about does it meet the gauge requirements, but also is it a good fabric? Is it a sturdy fabric? It's not too loose, it's not too tight, it's just right. I like the fabric this is making, so I might have, and it's a shawl, so I might do some fudging there, but we shall see. What was my point there? Yeah. Do you want to knit shawls with me in April? That could be fun. Also, before we move on to books, I need your help. I am going to Stitch North weekend 1, and I'd like to participate in the Smalls Exchange. I have it narrowed down to 2 patterns, but I can't decide which of the 2 I'm going to make. So I would love your opinion. The first one is a pattern I've had in my stash an embarrassingly long time. It is by Misty Purcell of Luminous Fiber Arts, and it is called So Tweet. It's one of her early designs. She finished it into this little cushion, but it's just a little bluebird sitting on a spool of yarn with a tomato and a thimble and a needle. I would be stitching this in DMC. The overdyed flosses she uses for the model are from a dyer that I do not, it's thread I do not use, floss I do not use. So I would be doing the DMC conversion and possibly fudging it a little bit if I don't like it. So this is option 1. And both of these are relatively the same. This is 63 by 51. And the next one is 61 by 50. This one is from the 2024 February Burb box by that Jessie of Mislaid Pages organized. And this is actually one of Jessie's patterns. It's called You Are Enough. And I have, since it was in the box, I have the fabric and the floss. This would be probably a little extra tiny because I got the 40 count fabric. I would probably do this as kind of an ornament or just a little hanging thing. Yeah, but it's very sweet. And yeah, this uses Dinky Dye silk. I cannot decide. Please help. Please help. Yeah. So yeah, speaking of Stitch North Weekend 1, are you going to Stitch North Weekend 1? I don't know anybody who is, and it's my first time going, and I have anxiety. So if you see me there, I might be in a corner cowering. I'm going to try not to. That's me being a little bit, I'm exaggerating. But social anxiety is like that sometimes. But yeah, I would love to meet you and chat with you and stitch with you or knit with you at Stitch North Weekend 1. So let me know. Related to that, are you going to be at the Gathering Threads retreat here in Ottawa, Ontario in August of this year? Yeah, Nora Corbett's going to be there. So that's pretty wild. Much love to Jade, the 310 Stitcher, for organizing that. Organizing a retreat is no joke. It's been almost 10 years since I did that once. Yeah. So, that's going to be really fun. It's in, I think it's going to be in one of the hotels near the airport here in Ottawa. I'm looking forward to it. Are you coming? Canadians, non-Canadians? Let's hang. I think we're down to books. I think it's time to talk about books. Yeah. All right. So since we last spoke, I have finished 3 books. I'm currently reading one, and I have another one waiting in the wings. So I read Sir Anthony Hopkins' memoir called We Did Okay, Kid. I'm glad I read it. It was a quick read. It was fun. I felt that it rambled sometimes. I felt like he repeated his thesis a few times. I only needed it once. And as a little, but I dropped my pen. As a little bonus in the back, he included some of his favorite poems, which I feel is so special, and I'm saving those as a treat for later. But I feel like I'm curious as to what you think about it. It's difficult for me to imagine what it must have been like being a very young child in the UK during World War II and being on the autism spectrum. That was a way to grow up. But he tells a lot of fun stories and anecdotes and things that Laurence Olivier said to him one time and things that Katharine Hepburn said to him one time. And what was a horror story to me as someone who does not like being confined in spaces. In The Silence of the Lambs, you know how the character Hannibal Lecter is kind of locked in this 8-foot by 8-foot box. And so they made it on set. Did you know it would take 40 minutes to get Sir Anthony out of the box every day? If that had been me, I would have been method acting by the end of it. Like, I would have been biting people on the face. Fun stories like that. And he loves cats, and he and his wife rescue cats. And I'm rambling now, just kind of like the memoir. Anyway, I gave it 3.5 out of 5 stars. And I read one of my favorite things I've read this year so far, which is Agatha Christie's And Then There Were None. Dame Agatha is the queen for a reason. She considered this her best work, and I'm going to kind of agree with her on this one. Genuine head scratcher, surprisingly dark. I would have done the ending a little bit different, not in terms of I wouldn't have changed the ending, but I would have revealed the ending in a different way were I her. But then again, I have written 0 books and Dame Agatha wrote dozens. So take that with what you will. And I read this because I wanted to watch the 3-part miniseries from 2015 adaptation of And Then There Were None with Charles Dance and Sam Neill, Miranda Richardson, Toby Jones. It was and it was brilliant. It was brilliant. Like, I would love to own it. They changed what they needed to change. The acting was flawless. Like that, I love that cast. I love that cast. The atmosphere, the cinematography, the direction. 10 out of 10. See it if you haven't. But I generally like to read the book before I see the movie. Then just recently, so one of my reading goals this year is to read a book that my partner Josh loves. He has quite a few that he loves, but he suggested I read this one called The Forever War by Joe Haldeman. And I am glad I read it. I'm giving it 3 stars. Sometimes you like a slow burn, and sometimes the slow burn doesn't really work. And this was one of those times where I felt like the slow burn didn't really work. But I like what the author was trying to do. So this was written, Haldeman is a Vietnam veteran. So it's a commentary on the military-industrial complex. It feels like a response, very much like John Scalzi's Old Man's War. The Forever War feels like a response to Robert Heinlein's Starship Troopers, in that you have a very young protagonist drafted into the army, you know, because there's a draft, because, you know, there's no choice, with some leaders who are incompetent and some leaders who are doing their best and very good, preparing these young people to go up against an enemy in space, and the outlook is grim. That premise, very similar to Starship Troopers, John Scalzi's Old Man's War. What the twist for the Forever War is, and what kind of slowed this book up for me, is the reliance on Einstein's theory of relativity and speed of light travel. He goes a little bit off into the scientific weeds, trying to make sure you understand specifically what he's getting at, when really what he could have just said in a couple of paragraphs is that folks are going to travel at the speed of light that way, and because of relativity, for them, it's going to feel like they're gone for a year or 8 months, and by the time they go fight the battles and come back, 25 years has passed on Earth. Even though for the folks doing the traveling, it's been less than a year. So they come back, they're like 22, mom is 85. Currency is whack. And so our protagonist is William Mandela, and it's just his point of view going through the ranks of the military-industrial complex. There is a story here, I promise. But it's the same story, just a different. I'm not explaining this well. Reluctant conscript drafted into an elite military unit and propelled through space and time to fight a distant 1,000-year conflict. So again, why the Forever War? The war is happening thousands of light years in that direction, which is technically, in terms of where Earth sits, it's happening in the future. Or the past. No, the future. It's weird. So, yeah, the relativity makes it weird. I'm not really selling this book very well. If you liked Heinlein and you liked Scalzi, you might like this. If you like biting commentary on the military-industrial complex, yeah, I gave it 3 stars. I thought the characterizations were a little bit flat, especially William Mandela's love interest. For most of the time in the book, all I can say about Mary Gay is that she is a pacifist and she likes to have sex. Both of those things are fine, but women are not two-dimensional creatures. And I'm a little annoyed that I had to wait until I was like this far into the book, this far close to the end of the book, before you tell me something that she does, and I'm not going to spoil it, but you know, she does something that lets you know that, yeah, she's the kind of person who's gonna just go balls to the wall and be there for you. I kind of wish I knew that about her earlier in the book, so she seemed like a complete person. when was this written? 1974. So, I'm not giving this a ringing endorsement. I'm not telling you not to read it either. It just was rough for me. I am currently reading the March book club book for Emporium of Forgotten Threads called The Keeper of Lost Things by Ruth Hogan. I'm listening to it as an audiobook through Libby. I like it so far. I have a feeling that it's going to make me sad. At least once or twice. I think it's going to make me sad. But 9 times out of 10, when Ann P. recommends a book to me, I like it. So we're trusting Ann. And what's coming up next behind that is the April book club book for Emporium of Forgotten Threads. And that is The Library of Fates by Margot Harrison. I don't really know much about this book other than Anne told me to read it, and it's got like some magical realism in it. As I said, in general, I trust Anne. We have, where our literary tastes overlap, they overlap very well. So that's what's coming up next. After that, I'm not sure. I might dive into Anna Karenina because that is on one of my books that I must read this year, that I want to read this year. Or I might pick up Lonesome Dove because rereading that is also on my list of things to read this year. Those are both 1,000+ page books. So time investment, but that's okay. I started the year reading an almost 900-page book, and I did that in 3 weeks, and it was fine. So that is all I have today. I'm sorry this felt kind of rambly and disjointed and all over the place. But hey, I got it done. And okay, so if you're still here, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. There are so many wonderful and talented people on FlossTube, and it means a lot to me that you choose to spend your time hanging out here with me. I know it is a terrible world out there right now, and do what you can. That's all we can do. We can do what we can. No act of goodness or kindness is too small. I can tell you that. All right. So until next time, take care of yourselves. Be good to yourself. Take your meds. Drink enough water. And I'll see you next time. Okay. Take care.